Hi everyone, and welcome to First Year Friday of When Academic and Advising Services. My name is Grace Day. Today we're going to be talking about how to advise and register for classes which started this week. Registration will happen in the next couple of weeks. We're going to show you how to walk through that. In today's presentation, we're going to talk about the process of advising and some things that you might want to make sure you get double checked with your advisor before you start to register, the timeline for registration and some dates that you'll want to keep in the back of your head, how to check and remove your holds, which is going to be important before you can even register for classes, how to actually search for courses and add them to your cart, as well as the quick add process, some tips for success, and some additional resources that will be available to you on registration days. So let's get started. The first thing you'll need to do before you can register for classes is set up for an advising appointment. You're going to want to do that before your registration date. Meeting with your academic advisor is not only important, but it's also mandatory. You actually have a registration hold that can only be lifted by your academic advisor. So if you have not met with your academic advisor yet or have not made a plan to do so, that is highly recommended. It's very important. You'll have to do that before you register. Some things you'll want to bring to your actual academic advising appointment: a couple of pre-built schedules. Have a list of the classes that you're already going to want to take. Even better if you have already kind of made what you want your semester to look like with schedules and section numbers. Your advisor is not going to pick your classes for you like they did your first semester when you were here. You are now in the driver's seat. This is your rodeo. So your advisor is there to advise. They are not there to select your classes for you. So come in with those ready to go. You also might want to bring your 4-year plan as well as your course catalog with you in case you want us to talk about alternatives or look at a couple other things. And then also write down your questions. Take them with you. Write them down. Don't just take them in, or don't just think you can remember off the top of your head, because you might forget. So write them down and have them ready for you. And then once you go through the advising appointment, each of them should take about 20 to 30 minutes, could take longer depending on who your advisor is, but generally they're going to run about 30 minutes. After your advising appointment, take that advice that you were given and make changes, put it into work. Keep an eye on the real-time schedule, which I'll show you where to find that. Keep an eye on that through the registration days, so keeping an eye on how many seats are left in available sections, and if you need to make plans before you go into registration day, that would be great. Accessing the real-time schedule of classes. So you can do this on registrar.mercer.edu. On the left-hand side underneath Macon, you'll select class schedules. And you use this to see what classes are being offered in spring 2021 and also use them to help build an idea of a schedule that you're trying to use. This is not how you will register for classes, however. Keep this in mind. This is just how you see what classes are being offered. And these are some things you might want to consider during your advising appointment. If your degree plan is changing, do you no longer want to major in what you originally intended on majoring in? Do you still want to major in that? Great. The earlier you decide to change your plan, the easier it is to make alternatives. So your advisor is not a mind reader. You got to ask them if you want them to help. So talk about that. They'll also kind of want to take this time to break down how the semester has gone so far. So talk about how are things going? What have been your successes? What have been your challenges? Are you going to need to retake a class? This is a time to get pretty honest. This is not a judgment zone. So your advisor is there to help. So if you may need to retake chemistry or pre-calculus or what have you, talk about that. Talk about your options of when you can retake things, where you might want to retake them, what you want that to look like, and how you can get on track or stay on track to graduate on time. The next is if you're in the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, make sure you take into account your additional depth requirement. So thinking about what additional majors or minors you're considering and when you can start those preliminary prerequisite courses. Can you start them as early as next semester? And finally, ask for feedback, because your academic advisor has been working with you since you got to campus. So they have been able to see you in a way that your regular faculty might not be able to observe you. So ask them what they think, how they think things are going. Like, what do they identify as your strengths? What do they think are some things you might want to continue to work on while you move through your career at Mercer? And like, what are some other opportunities they think that you might want to fit into things? So then moving into the actual registration process, before you can even think about doing this, you're going to want to make sure you have paid your tuition bill, paid your parking tickets or any fines, checked your MyMercer to see any other holds that you might have. This includes immunization forms, transcript requests, etc. Make sure you've met with your academic advisor and had your academic advising hold removed. And make sure you've signed the statement of student responsibility, which is basically an agreement between you and the bursar saying that you will pay for all the classes that you register for. So you have to do that. You can sign that through your MyMercer portal. Those went onto your accounts yesterday, the 22nd. So go ahead and sign those now. And so then here's a quick timeline. Priority students are going to register on the 2nd. Graduates and seniors on the 4th, juniors on the 5th, sophomores on the 9th, and then most of you will register on November 10th at 7:30 a.m. You should have received an email from the registrar on the 12th with your registration date and time. It's determined by credit hours. So if you came in with X amount of transfer credits or dual enrollment, you may be placed into a higher status than first year. So you may have a different registration time. Check your email. If you see that there's a discrepancy and maybe you think that you should have a different time, contact the university registrar and they will either clarify or get you sorted. Also, if you have an earlier registration time than the 10th, make sure you reach out to your advisor as well as your peer advisor so that they know when you're registering so that they can be available to you on that day at that time in case you run into any problems. Thing you're gonna want to do is check your holds, which you can do on MyMercer. So on your MyMercer account, on the lower right-hand side, if your holds are listed, you'll see them. You'll see right here where it says 0 holds, this person has 0, but you can, if it has 1, you'll click on that and it'll tell you what the hold is and who you need to contact. So take care of that as soon as you possibly can. Some of these holds take multiple days to clear or process. So if you see a hold on your account, do not put it off. Take care of it as soon as possible. And it could be as easy as it was an error on their part and they just got to change it. So keep an eye on it, check it, get rid of it. Because once again, before you even begin to register, make sure you have paid your bills, paid your parking tickets, checked your additional holds, sign the statement of student responsibility, and make sure they're removed before your registration time. I recommend going in 2 days before your registration day and time and just making sure that you don't have any there. So now we're going to actually talk about how to register for class. So at your registration time on the day you are meant to register, when you log into MyMercer, underneath the announcements on the top left, there will be an online registration. You'll click on that link, which will bring you to this portal. So on this portal, you will use this little drop-down menu over here to the right under term, drop down, and you'll select the term you're wishing to register for. So spring 2021. Now note, this registration portal won't even be visible to you until you're not only the day that you're meant to register, but the time. So if you log into MyMercer at 7:26 and you try to open that portal, you're not going to see it. So don't panic. It won't open or be visible to you until 7:30. And then once that loads, once you've selected the term, it'll bring you to this landing page. And then you'll select register down in the bottom right-hand corner. And this puts you into kind of like the marketplace of classes. So then from here, you will have 2 options. So back when I told you to make sure you knew the section number of classes, that's important here because if you don't know the section number of the class that you're trying to take, which is like the day and time and the professor that you're trying to take of a specific course, you will need to fill in the course information here on the left and search for the sections manually, and that takes a little bit more time. However, if you already have an idea of the section number that you're trying to take, you can take advantage of the quick add function. So on this landing page, you will select, it's almost like selecting a browser window. You will select quick add and it'll bring you up here. So once you have selected quick add, you will enter the full course code in the top box. That includes the school, the department, and the course number, and then a period. The period is very key, do not forget. These are also case sensitive, so make sure you have your caps lock on. And then in the bottom box, you'll put the section number. A good example is this History 110 section number 1. So in the top box, CLA HIS period. And then in the bottom box, 001. You're also going to want to make sure you have spaces in between the school and the department and the course number. And then after that, you'll select add, and then it'll bring you back to this landing page. So once again, you'll just hit select quick add, and then add all, and then add the next course, hit add, it'll bring you back. You'll keep repeating that until you've added every class that you're trying to register for. And then after that, you'll see everything down here that you are trying to register for. You'll review the classes you have on your list, and then you'll select register drop. This is when you will be notified if there are classes that you would be put on a wait list for, or if there are classes that the wait list is full and the class is no longer available to you. If you see a wait list, take a pause and make sure there aren't other sections that maybe don't have a wait list at this time that would fit into your schedule that you could take, and then put yourself into that class instead. Putting yourself on a wait list isn't the end of the world, but it's definitely not something you want a whole lot of. You kind of want to avoid as much of it as you can. A note for some classes are going to be coded as giving certain types of students preference. A good example is nutrition. So that's generally the preference is given to pre-nursing students. So if you're not coded in our system as pre-nursing, you need to reach out to either Dr. Bocros or Courtney Honeycutt and get yourself coded as a pre-nursing student. And those classes might have a course maximum of 1, and then you start a wait list. Put yourself on those wait lists because then at the end, the faculty will go in and add the students who are coded as pre-nursing in first until the class is actually full. It's just a way of kind of reserving those course seats for other people. So back to what I was saying, once you've seen all the classes you're trying to add and you select register drop if you're not put on a wait list, or even if you are put on a wait list or XYZ, whatever happens, it'll bring you to this final step where you are able to view your registered and waitlisted courses. You'll be able to tell if you are registered for a course if under status, it says registered. If it says waitlisted, you'll be waitlisted. Your registered credits are not going to include your waitlisted credits. So if you are trying to register for 15 total credits and say you get waitlisted for religion 150, you will technically be registered for 12 credits. But then once you get off the wait list, you'll be bumped up to 15 credits. You're going to want to, speaking of credit numbers, you're going to want to make sure that you are registered at 12 credits minimum. That is full-time status for a student. Average course level and credit level for students is between 15 and 17. So you kind of want to keep that in your thoughts, no less than 12, but no more than like 16 or 17. That's kind of the upper end. And then once you get past that, you have to start paying extra fees. So make sure you're in that realm. And a good trick to knowing that you are registered, because sometimes what students do is they get to this step and then they don't select register drop, and then they're not actually registered for any classes. Don't be that person. Make sure you keep hitting register drop until there are no more options for you to register drop. That's a good way of knowing that you are making it through. So here are some tips. Have multiple schedule options ready to go. Remember when I said going into your advising appointment, have 2 to 3 options, have those ready so that generally at the first year registration time, if certain classes are full, it's going to be hard. So have some alternatives ready to go. Know the section number of the course you're trying to register for. That is going to save you so much time and so much heartbreak. Also, you're going to make sure you log into My Mercer at your assigned time. I do not recommend waiting later. Set an alarm, get up nice and early, have some coffee, have a shower, read the newspaper, so that you're ready to go at 7:30. There are going to be quite a few of you on the network at once, so that might take a little bit of time and put a little bit of strain on the network. So if it takes a little bit of time to load, be patient. Do not hit refresh because that puts you back at the end of the queue. So just be patient, wait it out, it'll be okay. If you can avoid a wait list, try to avoid it, but if you can't, pick the shortest one. You can see how many people are on the wait list when you register and you can add yourself to it. Also, do not miss class to register. Get up early and do it. And the most important tip is do not panic because it's going to be okay. This is not our first time doing it. It is not our campus's first time dealing with registration. So be patient and know that you're going to be okay. If you are put on a wait list or two, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. We will help you find alternatives or get you taken care of. If you are trying to take Bio 211 and Chem 112, check out the matrix on our website. But if you don't necessarily get into your number one section or you find all of them are waitlisted, be careful, be patient. You will get a seat. We will make sure you are able to take the classes you need to graduate on time. There are going to be a lot of people in the system at the same time. So just be patient. If it's a little bit laggy, it's okay. We do have some resources that will be available to you on, I say, first year registration day. So on Tuesday the 10th, the IT help desk is going to open at 7:30 a.m. So feel free to call them. I ask that you do not walk into the library. The library will not be opening until 8. So call the help desk number and they will take care of you. The registrar will also be open a little bit early. So if you are running into some issues with classes, or maybe on the technical side of the classes, give them a call. I will say there's not a lot they can do if a class is full. They will not be expanding those seats. That's not up to them. So just if you get into a class and maybe the wait list is full, try to find another course. Our office will also be available. We will open at 7 a.m. on that Tuesday. So give our office line a call, 478-301-2078. Our business hours do begin at 8:30. So if you call us after that and we don't get back to you immediately, it's okay. We have meetings and we have other appointments that we may have to deal with, but give us a call and we will get back to you within the day, I promise. Your peer advisor and your advisor are also going to be available to you that day. Your peer advisors have all been assigned a bare beginnings classroom so that you can adequately social distance and bring your laptops, but still be available if your PA can assist you. And they will have our phone numbers as well, so they'll have us on speed dial. They can give us a call if something goes awry. But other than that, if you have any additional questions, feel free to give me an email. Give me a holler, day_gc@mercer.edu. Also, be sure to follow us on Instagram at MercerAAS. We post a lot of tips and tricks and share out extra information that may come out at the last minute. So you'll want to stay tuned and keep an eye out. In terms of we had a couple of questions. Our first question is about immunization forms. So immunization forms must be turned in, and if they have not been turned in yet, you will not be able to register until you turn them in. Contact Mercer Med, contact Student Health if you see that as an issue or if you have any questions about that. They will take care of you there. Section numbers. Okay, so section numbers are designated by the date and the time. So if you'll need to know the date, the section number, because that'll coordinate with the day and time that the class is being offered. There are multiple sections and multiple classes generally. If you're trying to register for a class that has a lab component, that course is baked into the lab, or the lab is baked into that course, I should say. So when you're registering for that class, you don't have to register separately for that lab. By registering for the class, you'll automatically be enrolled in the lab class, so you don't have to worry about searching for that. Okay, if you have questions about who your academic advisor is and who you should be contacting, if you're a first-year student, a great hint is your UNV instructor. That is generally going to be your academic advisor. If you have someone else who's different, you should be made aware of that, but you can also check that on your MyMercer account. And if you don't know who it is, give me an email and we'll help you figure out where to go for that. Transient student process. Okay, so if you decide to take a class over the summer or take an online class to fulfill a different requirement, that is allowed, but you do need to fulfill or file a transient student request through the MyMercer portal. And what that will do is it'll go through your advisor will approve it, and it'll help articulate the credits that you are going to be transferring from that school once you take that class. It also lets the school know that you are in good academic standing and are able to take the class there. All right, and I think that about sums everything up. So if you have any additional questions, feel free to, like I said, shoot me an email, follow us on Instagram, and let us know if you need anything else. Otherwise, best of luck and go Bears.